You know what's wild? I've thought about this before. In fact, we've probably had this talk before on the show, is Democrats nationally, we'll call it 50%. I realize it's less than 50%, but they get in a presidential election roughly 50% of the vote. So about half the country votes Democrat. And think about this. Think about how crazy that is. The entire American media, the major corporate companies, all for Democrats. The education system, certainly the public, the government education system, K through 12 and college, all Democrats. Hollywood, all Democrats. Essentially, there's this gigantic protection system in place designed to prop up Democrats. And even with all that, this huge ecosystem, they can only get to 50%. That's how horrible Democrat policies are. That's how unpopular what Democrats wants are. What their wants and desires are, I guess I should say. And that actually brings me perfectly to illegal immigration. There's a story out of Denver. Probably went right by you, but stay with me here. There's a story out of Denver. Here's the story. Denver has been flooded with illegals. They're one of these great American cities that went full commie and they've destroyed themselves. And the illegals have just been pouring into Denver and pouring into Denver. Well, ICE has been focused on getting the gangbangers, the illegals, out of Denver. You've already seen it in the news, a raid here, a raid there. They're grabbing illegals, they're tossing them out of Denver. Would you like to know how much of a reduction in homicides Denver has seen now that they've gotten a bunch of illegals out? 60%. 60%. I'm going to tell you something right now. The entire American media, the entire Democrat Party, half the Republican Party, our education system, everybody, they are not just dedicated to protecting and propping up Democrats. They are dedicated completely to covering for illegals when illegals commit crimes. Think about just off the top of your head, just whatever pops in the top of your head, think about how many crimes you can name that an illegal was committed. Maybe it's just headlines that have flashed through your head. Maybe you're thinking about Laken Riley, Jocelyn Nungary. Maybe you're thinking about another one of these DUI types that splatters a family of 5 on the highway when he's high and drunk. Just the stuff that popped into your head. Now think about this. That's how much illegal immigrant crime you know about, and you know about that with the entire ecosystem dedicated to covering for these people. The amount of crime in this country done by foreigners who shouldn't be here would floor you if you ever were able to actually get the honest information, which of course you cannot get. And it's why, Kash, Patel, Dan Bongino sat down, did a big interview. It's why this stuff exists.
The border was open for 4 years. So what happens is crime metastasizes. What happens is you have hundreds of thousands of illegals come across, and a bunch of them are really bad criminals. Not all of them, but a bunch of them. And then they nest into societies. And this is why we're rolling out Mexican street gang task forces across the country, because it's not the international gangs that are just the problem. It's these inner city gangs that exist in 1 or 2 towns here and there and have metastasized and taken over the drug trade, the sex trafficking trade, the child forced labor trade, and the gang trade. They are all in, and no one has been focusing on them because our cities and our elected leadership has allowed them to live without being policed. But that's over now that Dan and I are in the seat.
Another reminder that voting for Democrat in the year 2025 is an act of evil. I'm sorry. I know your dad voted Democrat. I've always voted Democrat. It's not me telling you to vote Republican. If you vote for Democrats now with their stance on just illegal immigration, I don't need anything else. Just on that, it's an act of evil. It is. A vote for Democrats is a vote to bring rapists and murderers into your country as fast as humanly possible. That's a fact.
They'll take you too. They don't really care.
Why do you think they're going to take me too?
Because you have brown skin.
That's pretty racist. I'm an American citizen.
Doesn't matter.
So you think I'm going to get deported?
You could.
So this woman right here thinks I'm going to get deported because I'm a brown woman. That's an extremely racist thing to say, ma'am.
No, the racist people are...
No, you're the racist because you just came up to me and said I'm going to get deported because I'm brown. How dare you? How dare you sit here and speak to me because of my skin tone? No, I don't need to be careful.
I really greatly enjoyed that, probably more than I should have. Joining me now, the star of that little show, Savanah Hernandez, Frontlines Turning Point USA reporter. Savanah, are you broadcasting currently from Mexico?
You know what? Unfortunately for white liberals across America, I did not get deported. I probably will not ever get deported because, like I said in that clip, I am an American citizen, Jesse.
Savanah, okay, set this up for us. Where is this? What's going on here? How did you end up talking to that hag?
Absolutely. So I'm actually outside of that now infamous Delaney Hall ICE detention center in New Jersey. And the reason why I went there is because we saw the mayor of New Jersey, Raz Baraka, create that whole entire scene in which he was going to go and storm the facility because it's innocent women and children that are being detained in this area. So I went over that way to go talk to the protesters that were outside because I wanted to discuss with them who was really inside of this facility. And of course, as we all know, it's murderers, it's rapists, it's MS-13 members, right? These are drug traffickers, people who attack children. And I went to confront these people to ask them why they were doing that. They refused to essentially confront the facts of who they were really protecting, or they doubled down on the fact that these people did deserve dignity and due process, which, by the way, Jesse, 75% of the people in this facility have criminal charges, have convicting or pending criminal charges, or have been convicted of criminal charges. So again, everyone in this facility, the majority of them got due process. So that's how this entire situation was set up, was me just simply going out and asking these people why they are defending criminal illegal aliens who shouldn't be in this country.
Savanah, we know, you and I have talked about this many times before, that some of this is organic, just crazy people, and some of this stuff is paid. A lot of this communist activity in the country is paid for and organized. Did you get the sense, because you were on the ground, I wasn't, did you get the sense that this is paid for?
You know, Jesse, to be quite honest with you, I do think that these people were just organically crazy. These people were out there on a Wednesday afternoon. These are grown adults who are deciding to spend their time, again, defending people who they know nothing about, that are not American citizens. These are the worst of the worst in society. So these are the very few just legitimately crazy Americans who go out here to protest. And as you can see by the age range here, these look like retirees. These look like that same boomer-esque, brainwashed subset of America who still, for some reason, thinks that Obama was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and think that these poor, people that are being deported are all the best thing that ever happened to America.
That lady wasn't the only cat lady you interviewed. There's a whole host of others. Here's a little bit of it.
You think child rapists deserve dignity?
Absolutely, I do.
This is a democracy, and we're here, the people who are here, we're here to stand up for our democracy.
What do you say to the people who say that Donald Trump was democratically elected to mass deport the illegal aliens in this country?
There are laws in this country. Due process is one of those laws.
So I was reading that 75% of the people in this vicinity have either committed a crime, have pending criminal charges, and they did get that due process, and they are criminals. What are your thoughts on that?
I would guess that that's a lie, because we don't even know who's in there. I want to know where you're from, where this station is from, because the kind of questions you're asking me are very, very offensive.
Well, you're offended by my question, but a lot of Americans are offended by the fact that illegal immigrants broke into our country and have been murdering people.
I'm finished.
Everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves dignity.
Thank you for your
Everybody
time.
does. Even you. Even you.
Thank you.
Even you.
I'm not a child rapist or an MS-13 member, so I would hope so.
No, you're just a capitalist exploiter who likes to exploit people's pain.
Thank you. Thank you.
She seemed lovely.
Oh, yeah, Jesse. If you are an obese woman with blue hair in 2025, I can guarantee you that you have the most full and happy life amongst us. No, not really. This is why this woman was out in the middle of the day, instead of working a job, was screaming and defending, again, the worst criminals in society who shouldn't even be in this country to begin with. So oftentimes, Jesse, I do try to keep my reporting very much. I was going to go actually and stand in front of this Delaney Hall Center and essentially just kind of highlight the facts of who's in this center, why it opened up, because it did open up just recently. But again, the crazies were out in full force. And of course, it was like, well, who are you with? What are you doing? Why are you being offensive? And again, you see my last name, Jesse, okay? I'm a Hernandez. I have a Hispanic heritage. But at the end of the day, I'm an American citizen. I have no loyalty to Mexico. And I'm so tired of every single hyphenated American in this country that is making an issue out of the mass deportations that need to take place. Let's not forget that at the height of this illegal immigration crisis, you had 10,000 illegals come into our country in a single day. You had 250,000 of them come in a single month. So this is why the American people voted for mass deportations, myself included, and it is uninformed and ridiculous Americans like the one that I spoke to in this video that are continuing to push this misinformation about the people that are being deported.
Finally, speaking of deportations, it appears Denver, at once one of my favorite cities in this country, Denver used to be awesome. Man, I've had some really great times in Denver. It's turned into a dump because, of course, they handed the place over to the communists. But Denver is enjoying some of the fruits of deportation, aren't they, Savanah?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not sure which story you're talking about specifically, but regarding Tren de Aragua, they're not taking over apartments in the area anymore. And it does seem like the entire state of Colorado is really getting cleaned up, which the people and the residents there, were asking for a long time. So it's nice to see law and order reinstated.
Yeah, I was discussing, really, I should have told you what I was referencing, the 60% drop in homicides. Savanah, people really do not understand, because the media covers it up and Democrats do too. They do not understand how much violent crime in this country is due to illegals. They just don't. They don't get it because it's been covered by our system. It's jaw-dropping, the impact on us.
Oh, absolutely. Isn't it crazy how when you pick up the criminal illegal aliens who are committing the majority of the crime off the street, how the crime rates go down? We're going to continue to see this over the next 4 years. And it's incredible to see the immediate effects of instating law, order, and borders in our country.
Yeah, no doubt. Savanah, come back soon. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.